of the federally recognized tribes have reservations within that boundary. And so it's been really important for me. When I first got into the legislature in the House, I asked for and was assigned to the Commission on Indian Services, which I think is a really special and unique thing that Oregon did a long time ago. Can't take credit for that. Governor Atiyeh can take credit for that. Our director is here, Karen Quigley, and people who want to have intimate understanding, or a person who can help you find intimate understanding of the 9 tribes of our state. She is a major resource for us, and that connection between all of the state agencies and our tribes, which is really important. Right now there are 4 legislators, 2 House members and 2 representatives that are on that. And we see, I think, as a group, as legislators, our job is to help these tribes become economically more independent and do the things they need, and to recognize clearly as legislators, because a lot of legislators do not, and a lot of Oregonians don't really understand sovereignty and the unique place that these nations play in our state, and the unique relationship that they have with the federal government, and we need to make sure that we understand how that works. And it takes time, it takes effort to do that, but right now, all of the police forces that the tribes have are trained in Oregon by our same training, and because of a law we passed, which took a little bit of work, they can be peace officers just like our people are peace officers on and off the reservation. And I will tell you, in rural areas where we have not had enough resources to have public safety, our tribal police are really helpful for those communities to do that. And we've had some really amazing interactions between local police forces in cities and counties and our tribal police forces, and that's been a real positive. When it came back it had a sunset date. When it came back for sunset, there was no real conversation. The first conversation was a very large and active one, because we have 2 different kinds of tribes in our state, and I think people don't recognize that. All of the western tribes were disbanded, I guess, by the federal government in 1954, and the Celestes were the first to get back, made that transition, and the Coquilles were the last, and that's, I think, happened when I first came there in the 70s. So it's taken a while to make those adjustments, and then to figure out what it means to be a sovereign nation within another sovereign, the state of Oregon. But together we can make a difference, and if we respect each other and respect the common things as well as the unique things that are available in both, I think you can help the economic development of everybody. And I think it's showing in the work that's being done as we look at that. But it's also showing, I think, in the legislation that's coming out about our schools, about other ways of doing things. And in my family, I have a sister-in-law who's part of the Jamestown Slalom tribe. I have a niece that's part of the Elwha tribe. I grew up in Port Angeles and knew those tribal things, and I had the opportunity my whole life. My parents, my grandmother was a normal school teacher on the Queets River, and the only way she could get there is her father would drive her to the beach. A Native American person would come down and help her walk and forge the rivers up to the Queets, and then another tribal group would take her in a canoe up to the white reservoir, the white settlement on the Queets. She would teach, and the whole reverse would happen at the end of the year. So over 100 years now, we've been trying to figure out how to work with these unique citizens that have been here for a long time and have an intimate knowledge of our state, much more intimate than our knowledge of that state. So I would recommend to you a book. The people are dancing again. This Celeste had done that I got to read a year or so ago. It really does give you insights, and I think that the more we know about the other people we live with in this place and the importance of the land that they live on and the ancestors who are buried there, the better we'll start to have an appreciation of how to work together. And when you work together, you get a better outcome. And I think that's the thing that all of our tribes are starting to teach us now, and that the Commission on Indian Services is hopefully being a major part of in the legislature. And so our 9 tribes have an individual representative, and I will tell you that just like any other government, once you know one of those tribes, you know one of those tribes. And you've got to keep that in the back of your mind all the time. Just think that when you work something out, we used to have that a lot. An agency would work out a solution with a tribe, and then they just apply that solution to every one of the others, and that was not really well received. So figuring out how to do that and make it seamless so it works is really an advantage to all of our economic development in rural areas. I can't tell you how much understanding and listening to each other can open the opportunities for economic development in all of our areas. And that's the big message, I hope. And I think I heard that theme throughout this group. And then for tribes to be smart enough to take advantage of the expertise that members of their tribes, like our good senator here, and bring them back to the tribe, that's really important. I think one of the things that frightens most of my tribal people that I've talked to, both in Washington and in Oregon, is that what happens when we educate our kids and they leave? How do we get them back? And so we need to have those role models that have gone out, learned, and then come back to add value to their tribes. And that, it's pretty exciting to see that kind of stuff happening here. So that's all I have to say. Anything that we can do to help answer questions. I'm going to have to go to the next panel, but I'll let the questions answer because I've got to go down to a board meeting. So.
Thank you.